Okay, guys, One Piece chapter 1161. I have more thoughts, obviously. I don't think it's a game-changing chapter, necessarily. I mean, I think if power scaling is at the top of the brain, there's some things that you can play with there, but I think in general, it's just a fun chapter. It alters perspective, and it's making things a lot more clear for characters, character motivations, etc. So we're just gonna delve a bit more into certain things, and because it's been on my mind, right? So we're just gonna talk about it. This is coming from conversations that I've had with people since the chapter's been out, since I made my review, comments, things that I've seen, and just addressing a bunch of different things, and just like, let's try to make sense of it, okay? Let's try to make sense of some of these things. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation around Garp. I plan on making a full Garp breakdown video, just talking about him as a character, him as a Marine, him as a father, and what does this mean? God Valley and everything that transpired, knowing that he's there, knowing his motivations and what he did, what he didn't do. What does this mean? Is this just who Garp always has been? We've overlooked it because he's Garp. He's the main character's grandfather, Dragon's dad. It's like, is this okay? And also, what do we want him to do? What do we rather him do? Because I think for a lot of us, we don't think Garp is a bad person. We realize he's a good person. Have you heard that Girls Frontline 2 Exilium has a new update called Interstice of Reminiscence Part 2 Vestigial Display? Starting from September 25th and ending October 15th, it comes with free rewards and new character. You get 34 free pulls, with 10 from signing in and event resources equivalent to 24 pulls. If you're new or missed the last event, you can also get Mosin Nagant's free outfit called Siberian Slide and at least 10 more pulls. The new character is Jiangyu, a support doll who makes electric teams stronger with cool kung fu moves. Her dorm and refit room look amazing too. Let's see what makes this game special though before we try her out. See, Girls Frontline 2 Exilium is a 3D strategy game you can play on your phone or computer. It mixes turn-based battles with collecting characters and adding upgrades. The art is bright and smooth, almost like an anime, thanks to special technology. You play as the commander and lead tactical dolls through tough areas. You fight enemies and learn about a big secret as new groups show up. There are 4 types of dolls though: Sentinels for steady attacks, Vanguards for fast hits, Bulwarks for defense, and supports like Jiangyu for healing and help. New players can earn up to 120 free pulls by logging in and doing missions. You can also visit the refit room and dorm to turn your dolls, change their outfits, and watch them talk. Weapons are 3D and can be adjusted from any angle. It's a sci-fi game with collecting fun and a pretty deep story. This new update adds exciting event stages with traps and big bosses, including the new game mode, Phase Clash for challenging battles. Jiangyu's powers heal and shock enemies in a chain. The rerun doll Springfield adds strong shots. You can get limited time discount outfits like Siberian Slide and new weapon designs that look great. The story reveals more secrets. I tried Jiangyu in the team and her healing kept us alive while her shocks cleared enemies. Springfield shocks work well too, but outfits, they add personality to the dolls. I pulled Jiangyu and it was exciting when she joined my team. I changed her outfit and the details like flowing fabric and electric sparks, it looked awesome, man. In battles, her healing and shocks help, and Springfield shots made her stronger. I added a favorite support doll and we won big fights. I customized a rifle with a new skin and man, did it look sleek. Outfits like Siberian Slide make Mosin move like a ghost in snow. The mix of strategy and fun characters keeps me playing, with secrets unfolding as I go. If this sounds fun, guys, with tough zones and doll teams, download Exilium using the link below and follow the social media for updates. See you in the game. But I mentioned this in another video that I've made recently, where I talked about good people. What's a good person? If a person is an amazing Marine, no matter what, he upholds justice as a Marine. Nothing can happen on his watch where he will let it slide, but he's beating or he's cheating on his wife, or he doesn't spend time with his kids, or he's not a familial man. Is he a good person? What quantifies as good? In my opinion, I think there is a scale where bad, good. Some people are more bad, some people are more good. I don't think it's just good people or bad people. I think people may be high on the scale or low on the scale. It's just people. And so it's going to depend. Nobody's 100% good, right? You have people that do good things. Does that make you a good person? How many good things do I have to do to then be a good person? How many bad things or good things I have to not do to then be a bad person? Like, I do good things, but because I don't do everything good, am I a bad person? So it's like for Garp, I don't look at him as a bad person. There are things that he could do better. There are things I wish he would do more of. He's not a bad person. We can be critical. We can talk about things that we like for him to pick up the ball with. However, I feel like sometimes we're overly critical, and I think we need to relax a little bit. Just a little bit. Again, I'll go a bit deeper into my conversation, my views on Garp, because I think we're getting a little crazy about Garp. The whole Yonko thing, or just in general, when we talk about the Admiral versus Yonko debate, I don't want to spend too much time on that because I think for the most part, it doesn't matter. But Oda's doing this on purpose. He is coaxing us into these debates. Who's stronger? Who's weaker? I genuinely don't think think this changes much for what we felt about these characters beforehand. Now, I do think people now are forced, right? They're forced to now give Garp his credit. Because Garp was Smoker 7 years ago, right? Before we knew what Garp could do, people were calling him Smoker. Well, they say he beat Roger, but did he? It was like Smoker and Alabasta with Luffy. People weren't sure like what Garp was. Now you're forced to do that. You can't denounce him or deny him anymore. For the other guys, Big Mom, Whitebeard, Kaido, that respect never goes away. In my opinion, if we got to look at it from a bird's eye view, and I'm looking at these characters and I'm being super critical, the character that I would give a lot of credit to is Kaido. Even in the midst of ignorance, he's like, we not going to fight back? Not even fighting back? Shows us the mentality of this kid, right? Shows us that this person is actually insane. And Big Mom, that relationship, I'd like a little more. I'm not gonna lie. I would like a short chapter, maybe drawn by some other mangaka with Big Mom and Kaido's adventures. Just that interaction, because she's really big sis, where she's actually looking out for him, trying to give him the game in a way. I mean, I think it is unfortunate that Big Mom and Kaido, they didn't see each other for such a long time because they seem to have a decent relationship. It's even funnier now we think about Big Mom and some of her words in Hokage Kaioken, like, you can't beat that thing. Like, she acknowledges Kaido's strength. She hadn't seen him in a while, but she knows, like, the potential even back then was crazy. So imagine what he is now. So these moments, chapters like this, getting a glimpse of what happened in the past, it's making even moments like Wano, with Big Mom pulling up on Wano. That's why she was so, for the most part, comfortable that Kaido wasn't going to do anything to her, because, bro, that's little bro. And even them fighting for however long they fought and now then choosing to ally, it's not crazy considering the relationship beforehand. Now, there's a lot more based on what we know. We're not even close to that yet. Respect for Roger, end of rocks. At some point, Kaido, he needed his life saved. So there's more to go here. We're just getting Shaki out of the way. So for the most part, the Roger pirates, the Rayleigh, that's out the way. But I mean, Rayleigh could still be involved in fights because we know Scopper did something to Summers where he had PTSD. Scopper Gabon! Something else happened. Okay? So here's what we got to do. I think it's fun to jump to conclusion, especially in One Piece, based on chapter to chapter. It's fun. It's amazing. You just spew out nonsense and people just get triggered by it sometimes because it's not that deep, right? It's a fictional manga. However, this is not the end of this story. It's not the end of the flashback. So I think we sometimes got to chill, relax. We can have our fun for the day, the days, until the next chapter comes out. But come on, there's a lot more to go in this flashback. There's not too much on Rocks because not much happened. We just know that he's focused on his kid and his wife. Who could she be? Who knows? Oda finally added a name to her. So again, it could be the woman that we saw. That could be her, more than likely. Her origins, her motivations, where's she now? Those things probably get fleshed out at some point in the future. Maybe we find out what happened to her in the flashback. Maybe she died. So with Rocks, I think Oda's saving that. That's the conclusion of the flashback, when Rocks is no more, which, you know, there's still a propaganda of Roger and Garp fighting against Rocks. So I don't want to prop up Garp to astronomical levels. I'd say this: Garp has earned everybody's respect. You cannot say anything bad about Garp outside of character. Strength-wise, marine-wise, you understand what he is, but there's some things, all right? Again, I don't think any character is perfect. There's no character in the story I'm like 100% good. Only character. Only character is probably Kuma, all right? Kuma's the only character that I'm like, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say about this man where it's like, yo, I mean, he's violent, right? He read King Bakori, even though I think he should have packed up King Bakori a long time ago. I'm talking about for good. Should have got him out the paint. You know, so it's like, some people are like, well, he's a little violent. Either way, I think Kuma is the only character that I'm like, man, most part, it's a scale. Some people look at someone like Whitebeard. We think Whitebeard is a great person, but you kind of just sat there in the comfort of your own territory for the most part, with knowing the history of the world and didn't do anything. Don't you have a responsibility, Whitebeard? Knowing what could happen or what transpired, what will happen? Don't you have a responsibility to do something? No, I'm cool. I'm with my family. I'm good. So I think in general, it's a scale. And for Garp, he's just part of that scale. And now we're just looking at it a bit closer. I know people are going to get mad about this or feel a type of way, but this is why I think what Dragon is doing is way more difficult than what Luffy or even Garp has done. I think there's something about intention that adds another layer of difficulty. Garp gets away with being himself within the Marines, smashing pirates. That's it. That's his intent. That's his focus. Now, throughout the years, he's inspired others. He's now being more intentional about taking people under his wing and developing people. But for the most part, Garp is a passive entity in this world. The only time he's active when it comes to throwing hands, from what we've seen. Now, for Luffy, it is similar. Luffy's intentions, for the most part, is him being free, finding the One Piece. That is his intention. Saving people, changing the world. Couldn't care less. Feels like that's not his responsibility. However, that things are falling into place for him. That's not the intent. The intent isn't to make the world a better place. However, Luffy, through his actions, will do so, and so he's falling into that. So there's no pressure there. If Luffy doesn't save the world, we're not going to be like, damn, Luffy, he didn't save the world, because he's a pirate. And for Garp, if he doesn't save the world, it's like, well, that's never who Garp was. For Dragon, he has had to be intentional every single step of the way, going against his dad's wishes, leaving the Marines, establishing this organization, dodging the Marines, being able to be free and run this organization, funding it for this long. Intention, and step by step by step, he's had to take those things seriously and be, a lot more meticulous about what he's doing. Garp and Luffy get away with just being them. Dragon has had to evolve over time. Every single time. He's going up against the world superpower. And he's had, bro, I was thinking of it, right? If I had decided to start a revolution today, I don't think my issue would be like recruiting people. I believe I could find people that can stand with me. You know what my issue would be? Who can I trust? Who can I trust with the information of this organization, knowing that if I'm caught, if anybody knows where I am, it is over. How many people do I trust that can be threatened, their family be kidnapped? All these people here knowing that they're part of the revolutionaries. Who do I trust? Do I have 100 people? 50 people? 1,000 people? 10 people? You know how crazy that is? Just conceptually thinking about the real world implications of what Dragon has done. And of course, we're seeing the humble beginnings here. He was willing to die because of what he helped curate. I think, yes, for some people, like, I would like to see Dragon do something. The existence of the Revolutionary Army, I think, is enough to know that he's done a lot. And if this isn't telling as to his character and his motivations from what we've seen here, where he's willing to die based on the actions that wasn't even his intention, and then being intentional about saving these kids, can save two. He's like, I'm gonna save you. We criticize sometimes the things that we're critical of ourselves. So I don't know if that even made sense. What I'm saying is, we're hypocrites. We can't, where it's like, you have people that are like, I hate power scaling. Like, why do people go so much towards power scaling? Then they're like, well, Dragon, do something. Like, you want him to fight? Is that what you want? He's Sabo, Ivankov, went Kuma. Their moves is a reflection on him, for the most part. Because Sabo, but Sabo's sense of justice, it is more radical for sure. But that man, right? He is the progenitor. So at the end of the day, Dragon gets my respect. I love seeing him in this chapter. I know a lot of people expect him to do the Galaxy Impact, Galaxy Dragon, or whatever the hell. I don't even know how much Dragon has taken him under his wing. Like, is he training with his dad? He seemed green in this chapter. I don't know, but I need some more. I would have liked a conversation. Not gonna lie, I would have liked a comp, but Oda may be saving it. They're still here. Maybe saving it. Also, with now we have the kid. At some point, the kid ends up in a chest. So we could assume that Dragon puts Shanks into a chest, and then that's where he gets his devil fruit from. That's not crazy to think. Also, Shanks seemingly had a concussion. Would that be a plot point as to his change, his intentions? Who knows? But it's certainly. But as a kid, you don't remember much. So he's so young. It is what it is. But something to consider, things to think about. You can't help but feel like a lot of these characters are super shallow. Like, they have their intentions and they're focused on them. They don't seem to be as nuanced as Rox. It's Rox's flashback for the most part. So we're not getting different sides to all these characters. Roger doesn't look great. He doesn't look like, in comparison to Rox, it doesn't look great. But at some point, these people start championing Roger. What happened? What happens? Right? I don't know if Oda's going the route of painting Garp and Rox as the same but different. Where we thought it was about Garp and Roger, whereas we're so Garp and Rox, where we have Garp who seemingly it's about the job for him and family is kind of on the back burner. Where for Rox, the job kind of went to the back burner and family's not at the forefront. And now we have these two clashing ideals. They may come to a head. I don't know if Oda's going to touch on that too much, but I already know there's a lot of depth and nuance to Rox where I can't pin him down and say, this is how Rox is. Because we've seen so many different parts of him. Depending on how Rox goes out, he might have a case for number one as far as antagonist. He might. We'll see. We'll see, but he's trending there. He's been so good. this is silly, but Garp made Big Mom, Whitebeard, Kaido, and I think and Shiki somehow run away, and Garp did not make it into Kaido's top 5. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand if it's more to Kaido, if it's just, I mean, hockey transcends all. That's all he is. Hockey and hands. They got H&M, he's H&H. That's all he is, and he didn't make the top 5. So he didn't directly fight him, though, right? He ran. So it could be based on, hey, I clashed with them. But we don't know if he fought Rocks. Maybe at some point he, went off at the mouth and Rocks, they had a little scuffle. I mean, he didn't have Big Mom in his top 5, so just small. Also, I want us to be clear. It's a difference with things. There are a lot of times where we know why things happen, but it doesn't matter. Why it happens gets pushed to the back burner, and then what happened is the focus of it. The revolutionaries going to Marijawa and getting out of there with everything they needed, we understood what happened, why things happened that way, why the admirals were stymied, right? We understand all those things, but it doesn't matter. They got away. Doesn't matter if you're in the Holy Land, you can't go. It doesn't matter. For Garp and the Yonko or the future Yonko running away from Garp, we understand. Like, it's a time thing. Shaki has to be saved. It doesn't, it's not conducive to fight someone like Garp. Doesn't matter. It's 3 of you. Three of you can't team up and take this man down relatively in a short amount of time, and Big Mom managed to turn around and fight against him, and he brushed it off with no issues. And that's the thing where it's like, if you don't have time, don't have time. Do you have time or not? Big Mom's like, nah, we don't have time. Then you turn around. So you have time? And you did an attack. He ate it. Now what? So it's a situation where, like, at the end of the day, there's reasons behind things, because Whitebeard did end up stopping and fighting Roger. But again, I think that's the whole setup to make Rayleigh the champion, obviously. And again, Whitebeard and Roger. Essentially, I think it's Whitebeard's going to save Shaki. Roger's going to save Shaki. For Roger, he's like, all right, if I can hold Whitebeard here and Rayleigh can go save Shaki, I'm okay with that, because that's my man, right? Not a big deal. And I think there are reasons for things, but when it comes down to explaining things and having fun and clowning, people don't care the reasons. Generally, it's like, so, right, with Kid gets clowned to no end. People are like, well, he got destroyed by, he didn't know how to hurt Kaido. Yeah, he didn't have Rayleigh in his corner. He had no one to sit him down and tell him this is what you need to do. He didn't have Hyogoro, right? But then people are like, well, that's his fault. And to an extent, I agree, because at the end of the day, Luffy has the ability to everywhere he goes, he's making friends. Where Kid, it seems like everywhere he goes, he's trying to make enemies. And that is not conducive to getting to where Luffy is, right? That's just the facts. So I know some people are like, oh my God, guys, it's not that serious. I think let people have their fun. Let them have their fun. It's but we can still explain, hey, as long as you know the reason why it happened, it's cool. Have your fun, but there's a reason why it happened. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, some of this came to me. Like, did Dragon grow up with Garp? What if Dragon grew up with his mom? And so, like, with Garp being the Marine and being away all the time, Dragon grew up with his mom. So then, somehow he ended up being with Garp, and then Garp forced him to be a Marine, because he doesn't seem prepared at all. I mean, at the same age, Luffy had been training for years. Luffy was more prepared to Marine for than Dragon is here. Now, I'm not saying that Luffy would be able to do better considering the level of the people that are here. Like, you'd still get washed, but Luffy would be a lot more prepared than Dragon seems to be. So, it wonders about the backstory and them somewhat being together. One Piece is definitely shaping up as a story of contrast ideals and force meeting opposing force, where things becoming because of other things being, making more sense of it. Luffy, Dragon, Kobe, these people exist because of the opposing force. And throughout the years, if the world government, if they do continue, if Luffy fails or this regime fails, there's going to be more people like this because of what exists. And it's the same thing where for Garp, Sengoku, even the influx of Akainu, Kizaru, Aokiji, that is a reflection of what the past was with those superpowers of Rocks and Big Mom and Kaido, where because of the growth of them, the Marines had to do better as well. And as the Marines grow, as the WG, as they grow, the opposing force is going to grow as well. And at the end of the day, it's going to be like, okay, who's correct? And typically who's correct is who wins. I did talk about the will of D, and that ultimately it's going to come down to 2 Ds and basically just 2 different methods of the D clan with Luffy and Blackbeard. So, I mean, is One Piece political? I'm not. Video for another day. One thing we do know for certain, everything is going to come to a head. Based on where everybody's coming from, there's going to be a meeting in the middle. Garling is still, suspiciously missing. I thought it was going to be Rayleigh versus Garling for Shaki's honor. Sommer's being here, throw a wrench in it, but at some point, Garling is going to get involved in the fight, and they're saving the best for last. Roger, Garling, Garp, Rocks. It's going to be an insane clash in the middle, and we got to wait and see what happens. We're cooking. No break next week. More to come. Got to talk about Garp. Definitely want to talk about Garp and break down Garp. How do I actually feel about Garp? How do we feel about Garp? Let me know below how you feel about him. Of course, like, subscribe, all that good stuff.